Alright, let's make an octopus. For this project, you're going to need purple yarn, scissors, a stitch marker or something, like a clip, a yarn needle, a crochet hook, a safety eyes, and stuffing. Let's start. To start, you're going to want to take your yarn and lay it out like this. Take the far end and loop it over itself. That's the first step. Then hold on where the yarn tail meets the yarn and grab this loop and put it over the yarn. So now you should have something like this. Now go into that loop and grab this and just pull. You have just made a slip knot. Next, take your crochet hook. We are going to make what is called a chain stitch. Okay, to get into crocheting position, this is quite simple. Take the yarn tail connected to the yarn ball and put it over your pinky once. Then put it over, but this time you're going to go under these fingers and use your middle finger and your thumb. That is crochet position. Okay, so you are going to want to take your hook and put it like this with the yarn. Then go under it and grab the yarn with the hook and pull it through that loop. Now you should have one loop on your hook. Do that again. Put it here, yarn over, and pull it down. And you have just made 2 chain stitches. Next, we're going to go 2 chain stitches away from the hook. So this is where the hook is, and each chain stitch is one of these little V's. So that's 1, this is 2. So we go into that second one, and now you should have 2 stitches on your hook. You're going to want to you're going to want to grab that yarn, pull it through only one of the loops. Then you're going to want to yarn over again and pull it through all the loops on your hook. Now you have just made your first stitch. Really quickly, just take a stitch marker and put it in with the hook. See this V? Put it through that V. And there you go. Okay, so next up in the pattern, you're supposed to do 7 single crochets in a magic loop. This one right here with the orange stitch marker, that was the first crochet. Now on the hoop, you can see there's 2 little hoops and then the yarn tail. You're going to want to follow that second loop and look at where it's going. So this loop traces back to this hole. So I'm going to place my hook there. If this is frustrating for some of you, I'm sorry. I am not the best person to teach you guys how to crochet. If you really do want to learn how to crochet, then I'd recommend buying the Woobles. So then, now you should have, now once again, you're going to yarn over, pull through just that first loop, yarn over again, and pull through all of the loops on the hook. Now once again, you're going to look at this second one and trace back to where that is. So right here, and I'm going to loop over again And at this point, if you feel fluent, you can definitely go a little bit faster. There also should be like a little hole in the middle. That's gonna be where you'd want to crochet into if you're not confident following this. So far we have 3, so let's just make the other 7. And then that would be 7. Really quickly, move your hook. Try to pull your hook away so you make this big loop so the yarn doesn't break. Now look at your orange stitch marker and start counting the vertical V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so right there we have 7 stitches. The second round says to do an increase stitch on each one of these holes. So what you're gonna want to do, put your crochet hook back into that loop, and then get back into crocheting position. Okay, so an increase stitch is basically doing a single crochet and then doing another single crochet in that same hole. So really quickly, let's take a good look at where this orange stitch marker is, because we're going to be crocheting into that. Okay, we're going to take it off for a little bit, take our hook and put it through that V that the orange stitch marker was just in. As you can see, it should look like we have 3 loops on the hook. And you're going to yarn over. You're going to want to yarn over, pull through that first V, and now you should have 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through all of them. Now, take a look at this V, grab your stitch marker, and just place it right through that V. Okay, so we've just done 1 single crochet. But hey, that's not an increase stitch. Exactly. So you're going to want to look at that second loop from the hook and see where that traces back to. That's the exact same hole we just crocheted into. So we're going to want to put the hook into that hole and do a single crochet. And that was an increase stitch. It's called an increase stitch because it takes up 2 stitches with just 1 hole. So it essentially makes the plushie bigger. So now you are going to want to find where this goes to. Do not crochet there. Go 1 over and put your hook in there. Now you should have 3 loops, yarn over, and bam. Now, if you ever lose track of where you are, you can, for this round, only for this round, you can count your stitches. 1. Well, this is just for this round. You can do this for multiple rounds, but you have to do it a different way. So you see 1 stitch, 2 stitch. That was 1 increase stitch. Now we have 1 stitch. Okay, so we have an odd number. That means that we just did a single crochet and we need to do an increase stitch. So look where this traces back to. Put the hook into that hole, yarn over, and you have just finished the increase stitch. Now really quickly, I'm going to go through all this and I'll meet you guys back with round 3. Okay, now really quickly, I'm just going to count to make sure I have the right amount of stitches. Remember, in the first round, we did 7 single crochets. And in this round, we should have 14 because an increase stitch is 2 single crochets. So quickly, let's pull the yarn back and let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. That's not right. If you ever mess up, then you can take this and just pull. But don't pull all the way. You'll see why in a second. Okay. Be careful once you get near the stitch marker because you need that. So, okay. So what you're going to want to do is when you're pulling with where the stitch marker is, you pull, and once you feel that tug loosen, bam. Take the stitch marker out and look at this hole. That is where you want to put your stitch marker back into, right there, because that was the first stitch of the round. Now we can put our crochet hook back there, and we put in the stitch marker, and bam. Now we can restart the round. After you're finished with the second round, your piece should look something like this. Rounds 3 and 4 are both single crochets all around, so that's going to be pretty simple. Once again, for a quick reminder, take that stitch marker out and remember where that V was. Put it into that V. Okay, yarn over, pull through that first V, yarn over again, pull through both V's on the hook. Take your stitch marker and mark that stitch, as that is the first stitch of your round. It's very important to remember to mark your stitch, or else it could mess up the entire project. Then, look where this traces back into. This is not an increase stitch, so you do not need to crochet in that hole. Crochet to the hole next to it. It should be this V, yarn over, and bam. So you're just going to do this all around till you reach this stitch marker. And then after that, you can just go back to this round because it is the exact same thing for round 4. So I'll see you at round 5. Okay, really quickly before you finish round 5, if your piece starts to curl in on itself like this, all you're going to want to do is just flip the piece so that it looks nicer out. Okay, make sure you follow very carefully because this next round is going to be a little bit tough. So for the first round, you're just going to make a single crochet like normal. Just really quickly do that. Okay. Now this is where it gets a little bit tough. So you're going to want to put your stitch marker back in the loop. There you go. Okay. We're going to do what is called a decrease stitch. So looking at this next loop, we would do a single crochet into here. But what we are going to do is, see there's 2 different loops of yarn here. This back one and this front one. We're going to want to put our hook through only the front one. So it looks like you should have 2 on the loop. Next, you're going to go to the next V and also put it through just the front one. Then yarn over, pull it through those first 2. Yarn over again, pull it through all 3. Now, you're going to want to do this one more time. But before you actually do this, something I'd like to address. Usually, we go to this second loop and find where that traces back to. Go 1 over and then single crochet there. But as you can see, this yarn tail is being tugged on from something. And that's already been used. So we're going to go... Oh, sorry, this one right here is being tugged over by something. It's already been used. So we're going to go 1 over again and go through that loop and that loop. Yarn over, pull through the first 2. Yarn over again, pull through all 3. We're going to want to do this one more time. So this one's being tugged. Put it through first loop, only the front loop. Remember that. And then... Okay, you're going to yarn over, pull through those first 2, yarn over again, pull through all 3. Okay, so if we do a quick count right now, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertical V's. And now we're just going to repeat that. Remember, this one's being tugged, so we're going to do a single crochet in this one. Okay, and then 3 decreases. So let's do that real quick. So here is, we're just going to take a break right here. Pull your hook back and make sure you have a long loop so you can continue crocheting later. Okay. Next, you're going to want to take your safety eyes Actually, you were supposed to take your safety highs first. I made a mistake. Okay, in the video, this will happen first. I accidentally put the stuffing in first, so I made a mistake there, but it's fine. Take your eyes. You will need 2. Take the 2 eyes, take the 2 discs. Put 1 eye in between rounds 3 and 4. So let's count. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So right there, and then put this one right here. Bam. Take the disc, and just gonna want to feel for where that nub is with the eye. Place it in, and there we go. So now that eye is secure in there. Okay, so there, I just put the 2 eyes in, and we're gonna go into the stuffing now. Now it's time to add stuffing to your octopus. So take your stuffing and take a small amount, okay? You're gonna roll it up. Grab your piece and just put it at the very bottom of it. Very bottom of the piece. You could like kind of rip up the stuffing so it's at the very bottom. All right, now you're gonna want to take another piece of stuffing. Let's flatten it out and put it into your piece. Okay, then let's put a little bit more. Okay, good. And then let's do a quick fluff test. Nope, that is not good enough. It shouldn't go this much through. We're gonna have a little bit more. Remember, in this case, you don't want to have too little, because what happened with Pierre, I kind of used the stuffing unevenly, and now he's just really lumpy and floppy. Okay, so now, if that ever happens, if the fluff ever just comes out, then start like ripping it up a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Once again, make sure it is layered. Yeah, that's good. Next up, we are going to make the tentacles. So, really quickly, let's get back into crochet position. Remember through the pinky. Okay. So, you guys are going to want to pay attention to this. Take the stitch marker out, and where that stitch marker was, you're going to want to put it through only the front loop, and we're going to do what's called a slip stitch. So we're going to yarn over and pull it through everything on the hook. There you go. I'm going to put my stitch marker in here, but we are not done with the tentacle just yet. Okay, so next what you're going to want to do is yarn over, pull it through that first loop, yarn over again, pull it through that loop again. And now from the second stitch through the hook, that's going to be this one right here, you're going to want to put your hook into that loop. Now you should have 2 on the hoop, and slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through everything on the hook. That is 1 tentacle. You're going to go to the next stitch, which is this one. Once again, put it only through the front loop and do another slip stitch. You just finished the first tentacle right here. Once again, 2 chain stitches and do a slip stitch into that second one. Remember, pull through everything on the loop, and then go into the next one, put it through, and slip stitch. All right, Seems like you got the hang of this. Let's go. I'm about to finish this last tentacle. Okay, pull it out, and really quickly, just check if you have 8 tentacles. Again, if you have 7 tentacles, that is perfectly fine. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8. Okay, so I have 8 tentacles. All right, really quickly, to finish the tentacles, what you are going to want to do is get into crochet position and take your stitch marker out, put your hook through that stitch, and yarn over, pull through everything on the hook, and pull away from you. And now we are going to start sewing him shut. Now, what you're going to want to do is take your scissors, and you are going to want to cut quite a long yarn tail, about 8 inches away from the actual thing itself, and snip right there. And now, my friends, this is all the yarn that you'll need to finish your octopus. Okay, guys, quick pause for this. A whopping 84% of you guys who watch my videos are not subscribed. That's fine. But I think we can make that number way, way lower. If you can, if you want to, please, subscribe. Okay, this is really sounding like I'm trying to beg you, but I'm being dead serious. It is totally up to you. If you don't like my videos, that's fine. If you do like my videos, that's fine. If you want to subscribe, great. But if you do want to help out, I would love that, because currently we are catching up to Gamer Boy Gavin in subscribers. And I want to see if we could pass him by the end of this year. That is really tough, because Gamer Boy Gavin makes a bunch of good stuff. Let's see if we can do it. Gamer Boy Gavin, if you're watching this, good luck. Alright, guys, back to the video. Yeah! Put your crochet hook back into that loop and pull very hard. If you need to, you can just pull this loop until you have all the yarn that you need. Then we can set our crochet hook aside. We will not be needing that anymore. Actually, never mind. You're going to want to put your hook under one of the tentacles, grab the yarn and pull it right through there, because for this we're going to need the yarn tail to be inside of the piece. Now we can set the hook aside. What you're going to want to do is, if you have fluffy yarn like me, this is going to be a little bit tough, but you're going to want to thread the yarn through your tapestry needle, or just a needle in general. Pull through. Okay. So now, right in the base, you can see, remember when we crocheted just into the front loop? All of these little bars here, that's the back loop. So let's put our needle under one of those back loops and pull. If the yarn doesn't go anymore, just grab one of the tails and just pull that until all the yarn is done. Now go to the next one, put it under, push it hard, and then pull it through, and then pull tight. You're going to want to do that through all of these back loops. I'm going to do this with you guys, because I know this can be tough for some of you. Let's go through this one. Grab that. Oops. Okay. Remember, pull tight. As you can see, it's starting to close up a little bit. Put it through again. Remember, it's very important to pull tight. If you do not pull tight, then the hole might be gaping large. Okay, let's go through this one. Yoke-a-doke. And now we just have a few more over here. Okay, and then I think this is the last one. Yep. Okay. I want to put it through this loop. And as you can see, the hole is very small now. If you have any yarn scraps, you can put that into the piece as well. Now, pull tight. Okay. Now, you have just finished closing off the octopus, but you still have all this yarn left. What you're going to want to do to make sure the piece doesn't fall apart, take your needle, put it through right in the middle of the bottom, if there's any, then put it out through the top there, and just grab it, and pull through. Now, for this one, it is important to do not pull tight, or else the piece can distort. Now, really quickly, you can just fluff this out, and then be careful not to cut the actual piece, and cut that fluff. Okay, now we can unthread our yarn needle and push any of this excess yarn back into the piece. And there you go. You have just finished making Ozzy the octopus.